up, everybody? It's Josh from the Den of Nerds, and we must talk about an update to the rumor and story about Jennifer Lawrence possibly coming into the MCU as Sue Storm from the Fantastic Four. Yes, this is a real rumor. Yes, it comes from a very good scooper. This might well be what the kids refer to as a thing.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me!
Before we get into all the juicy details, a reminder to smash that like button if you have not done so yet and you know that good content is on the way. And we wanted to, of course, remind you that a big part of what we're doing at the Den of Nerds is happening over on our live streaming channel. And if there's ever anything we bring up in a video that you have a question about, you could always come over to a live stream and have your question answered. It's kind of cool.
Perfection.
Now, this comes from a rumor from Daniel Richtman's Patreon. Now, we've talked about Daniel Richtman a lot in separate videos. I talk about him a lot on the live streaming channel. I consider him to be a very good inside scooper, and he has a very good track record when it comes to scoops and inside information. And this is actually not the first time that Daniel Richtman has talked about Jennifer Lawrence being perhaps brought into the MCU, and this maybe being associated with the Fantastic Four. There were rumblings of this rumor months ago, and we even covered it in a video, and I believe talked about it on a stream. And one of the reasons this even becomes news at all is because fans seem immediately divided on Jennifer Lawrence as Sue Storm. And we think we know why. This mostly has to do with the character of Mystique, who Jennifer Lawrence, of course, played in the Fox X-Men universe. Now, originally, this was actually not played by Jennifer Lawrence. Jennifer Lawrence came into the role later, but this role was a big success for her. People liked her in the role initially. She did some great work. It was very popular for her. She was blowing up at the time, but eventually something happened. The honeymoon phase was over, and there was clearly some issues with the people creating the Fox X-Men films and Jennifer Lawrence, and basically she just phoned that shit in, man. I mean, come on. We all know it is what it is. Jennifer Lawrence phoned in the performance for Mystique in the last couple of films, and it was so bad in the Dark Phoenix movie that they killed her, and they killed her in the trailers because they were like, look, we know Jennifer Lawrence is technically in this movie. She's cashing a check, knocking something out of a contract, but we need to let people know immediately, don't come to this movie or expect to see a bunch of her. We're killing her, and we're killing her hella quick. Here it is in the trailer. And like, look, some of that's fun, some of that's memes or whatever, but the truth is it's kind of real too. Like, Marvel fans legit not that down with Jennifer Lawrence. However, to be fair to Jennifer, when it comes to the X-Men movies, we learn more and more as time goes on that those movies were not the best environment to work in, number one. Some of the creative people that were involved with those films were not necessarily the coolest people to be working for. And also, they seem to not really care all that much about the source material. I mean, we just heard in a crazy interview with Hugh Jackman that when he was filming X-Men #1, Bryan Singer had this weird rule where you weren't even allowed to have comic books on the set. In Singer's mind, he thought if there were comic books on the set, people would then get really campy with their performance, and he thought of the comics as sort of something he wanted to get away from. He wanted to do a more realistic, mature take on these different characters. But Kevin Feige, even back then, knew that was bullshit, and he helped Hugh Jackman by taking him to dinner, talking to him about the character, giving him comics, even though it was illegal, etc., etc. And so the point there is Jennifer Lawrence probably just dealing with the bull crappery that was the Fox X-Men franchise. And by the way, she did likely work with Feige in some regard, or she likely knows of Feige and has spoken to people that have worked with him. And here's where I think it gets really interesting. There seems to be this family type thing that goes on with the Marvel movies. I mean, from what I heard, part of the reason that Chris Evans might come back, if he does come back, is because of that family aspect. He never thought in a million years he would come back, but life's crazy, the world's crazy, things change, and then when there's people you can count on, and there's people you can do good work with, and you really like them, yeah, I mean, sometimes you get the band back together again, and that's always a good sign, and fans love it. So maybe Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige is just so good at what they do, and they've created such a nice place to foster creation from actors and actresses when it comes to these comic book characters. Maybe Jennifer Lawrence will not only do well, but thrive as the character of Sue Storm when it comes to the Fantastic Four. Now, quick, we must do a disclaimer thing. We, of course, do not know if she's going to be Sue Storm. Let's just, again, remind you that this is a rumor coming from an Inside Scooper's Patreon, and he might be talking about it in a context that other people are reporting differently, meaning like really take a massive grain of salt with this news. Just want to remind you of that, and also remind you to like the video if you have not yet, because come on, man. Like, for real, it just takes like a second to do it. So I guess the next natural question for fans is like, how do we feel about her being Sue Storm? Do we think she could do it? Now, I know there's the trepidation from the Mystique thing. Maybe you can't get past that. Maybe you can. I think she's a fantastic actress. I mean, she's put in amazing performances. I believe she's won an Academy Award, maybe a couple. I'm sorry, I'm not that guy, and I'm not going to look it up right now, and you will hold it against me. The point is, I think she could kill it, man. You guys got to let us know what you think about this and her casting and being Sue Storm, so put that in the comment section. Yes or no, do you think she could do it? I will also say there's a couple of things you could extrapolate out from this news if it turns out to be true. It does indicate that they're not going for a super young Marvel's first family, because Jennifer Lawrence, she could definitely play a younger lady, but she's not younger herself. She's not totally young, and she's not an unknown. This is really interesting. We're very curious as fans what they will do with the Fantastic Four and the X-Men. The biggest rumor there is that John Krasinski, of course, will come and play Reed Richards. Now, that is mostly just based off of fan desire and some cool fan art, but I could see John Krasinski playing across from Jennifer Lawrence. I think that would actually totally work, but I don't know. I feel like in some ways we might be getting too fanboyishly excited about Krasinski being Reed. This could also indicate they're going in a different direction, because if they do cast Jennifer Lawrence and they want her to play a younger Sue, they could cast for a much younger Reed. One of the other rumors out there is that Joseph Gordon-Levitt is in the running to play Reed Richards, and I could also see Joseph Gordon-Levitt playing across from a Sue Storm that is being played by Jennifer Lawrence. That all seems to fit for me. And then also, you know, when it comes to the Fantastic Four, the rumors out there are pretty crazy. I mean, we are hearing they could be introduced in Ant-Man 3, the Quantumania film, and there's some bizarre rumors on how that could play out. And then their arch nemesis, Doctor Doom, is rumored to be in development, perhaps for his own Disney Plus thing, but also perhaps as at least partially a villain for Black Panther 2. Like, that rumor is picking up a lot of traction. Could be the case. What does it mean for the Fantastic Four? Who knows? But that's the news. That's the story. Jennifer Lawrence possibly playing Sue Storm. What do you guys think about this? You know, at first, I thought she could just be playing Mystique again, because I thought maybe the boner joke would have come out a different way. But I guess not. So maybe she will be playing Sue Storm. What do you think about the rumor? Let us know in the comment section below. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.